right, when you hear that, that means it's complete and I'm in the seat. Name is Nortey by nature. Listen every Sunday, 2:05. I come alive with the family. We call it Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. Mother's Day edition. Hey, Nungwa Manche. Came from his crown there. And yes, we saw his mother by his side. Ayeko. I also saw one of my favorites, on the stage, Daughters of Glorious Jesus. Hey, Mama Cynthia on the drums. It was a great show, but I'll do what I do on Sundays. If it impacts on your health, your well-being, I'll definitely talk about it. Bring in the top-notch professionals, practitioners into the studio. But let me take this one from the Daughters, right? One of my all-time favorites. For all you mothers out there, without you, hey, we are under your wings, but take this one.
Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
I just totally love this to bits. I'll pull it back when we're going home, right? Okay. Still Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. And this man is, Artist of the Year. But hey, his mama was right there. And in many ways, we're talking mama business. Breast cancer.
You know it's another OPK class.
You know, anytime I have to do breast cancer, so many names come up. Done this work for so long. This February we lost Milagros Mensah. Initially Venezuelan, married to a Ghanaian. 2030 started the Run for a Cure Ghana version. I think about 2 years ago I lost Gladys Boateng. Reach for Recovery. The names are endless, but they were strong warriors and survivors. Today we're talking about breast cancer care and support. I've got the president of the Breast Society of Ghana, is a surgeon with the breast surgery unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Dr. Josephine Insafo is here. Next to her, I have a critical care nurse and a survivor, Joycelyn Kuma. Yes. And clinical psychologist Rita Apia Dankwa. They're with me in the studio to talk about breast cancer care and support. You know, we have our Pink Octobers and all that. We do the signs, symptoms and all that. We want to look at support. What happens after that diagnosis? What does it entail? We know about 4,500 women annually, Ghanaian women, diagnosed. Sadly, because many of them are in advanced stages, we lose about half of them. But what is the story when it comes to care and support? That's why there in the studio, you can share your story on WhatsApp, 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Ladies, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All nice and pink.
Yes, we are.
And happy Mother's Day to you all.
Thank you.
Everybody's a mother, either biologically or otherwise. In fact, women can't just touch one person, can they?
No.
Wow, it's a
our
network.
nature.
Right.
Yes.
It's great to have you. I have my share when it comes to breast cancer, especially advocacy and support. But it's great to have you president of the Breast Society. You know, I put it up and I have these naughty friends like, hey, Breast Society, what's the Breast Society of Ghana?
Okay, great. So we are all from Breast Society.
Okay.
And so it's an association and we are across the country.
Mm-hmm.
So we have those involved in the treatment of breast cancer.
Okay.
So, doctors of all types, surgeons, oncologists,
Mm-hmm.
and even doctors who are not necessarily specialized in cancer treatment.
Okay.
Because, treatment starts from the health centers, the primary health facilities, district hospitals, so forth. So any doctor, nurse, pharmacist, physiotherapist, psychologist, anybody who treats breast cancer, gets in touch with breast cancer patient is welcome. And also we do have breast cancer patients and survivors who are members. And then we have people like yourself who not necessarily in the daily business of breast cancer, but you are happy to support, you are happy to add your voice to it. So we have people from all walks of life who are members, and it's across the country.
Okay.
And what we do is, so for the clinicians, we update ourselves, educate ourselves on the best way to treat breast cancer. And then for our patients and survivors, we educate our patients and survivors, talking even about support. We realize that we need to support them with information on their disease. Mm-hmm. We also do some training for navigators, nurse navigators, and some survivors who even volunteer to support others. Mm-hmm. So we are in the business of psychosocial support as well. Rita is doing a great job on that side. We do advocacy, we do awareness throughout the year, more so in October, but definitely throughout the year.
Okay.
We do breast screening, we go out into the community, in offices, anywhere, and then we teach breast screening. And we actually teach women the correct way to examine their breasts. So these are a few of the things we do.
Great. I was hoping to hear, I probably you covered it, but I've worked with groups and still do that have men who lost their wives to breast cancer, who are great support resources, and they are members of these groups. Are there any men in your group? Because the men are listening, and they're big target for me, right? Because we know it affects so many things, especially relationships. But male support and male membership, can you touch on that?
Yes, we have lots of men who are part of the group.
Okay.
Some maybe have been touched directly, their wives or mothers, and some are just happy to, give us the support and add to the advocacy. So we do have male members, and they are an important part of the treatment and the support.
Right. Treatment, care, and support, folks. On Ultimate Health, Joy 99.7 FM. It's about 18 minutes past the hour of 2. WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and X, right? Get your message in, get your question in, get your testimony, your experience in there. I've got the right team in the studio, right? I'm well sandwiched. I've got a nurse survivor. I've got a clinical psychologist. I've got a surgeon. Many people, Dr. Insafu, don't want to hear surgery at all. All right? I've helped people and they are telling me, well, my pastor said this. My auntie said, as for honum de uko na asa. Having a surgeon in the studio obviously brings to the fore the different regimens or options we have for treatment, okay? But let's start with the journey of care and support. From the get-go, even the suspicion, even the initial investigations leading to a conclusive or a confirmed diagnosis. Does a person require support from even that early stage?
Most certainly. I mean, the patient comes into your consulting room, they are scared. I've seen all kinds of reactions when you tell them that they've got breast cancer. Some will freeze. Some will
Even when you tell them you want to investigate.
Yes, because, fear of the unknown.
Right.
And they hesitate and so forth. Eventually, most of them will go and do it. But I think the D-Day for them, it's when you open that envelope with the biopsy results, and you have to look them in the face and tell them that they have breast cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you see, those who freeze, those who cry, those who start refusing it in Jesus' name. And some people too can be very businesslike. So tell me what's next. All sorts of reactions.
Right.
And you need to be able to sense this and then give them the necessary support. And then all of a sudden, we bombard them with all kinds of treatments. You're going to need this kind of surgery, or you qualify for 2 types of surgery. This, and this. These are the pros, the cons. What do you want? And then we'll give you chemotherapy. We'll give you radiation hormone. So it's information overload.
It's an overload.
Information overload.
Right.
Yeah. So by the time I'm done with them, told them they have cancer and probably the prognosis and the treatment options, I think they are pretty confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So from me, then I hand them over to breast care nurses, and then they go to see Rita, clinical psychologist. So there's a cycle.
Right.
And then sometimes too, you find that in Rita's office, you have breast cancer survivors who are there. Okay. So we try and give them some support before they exit.
All right. Very often we get a lot of feedback, some very glorious and positive, some not so positive, because care is a journey. And there are many bumps along the way, right? Some people default or fall out, and they go and tell all sorts of horrendous stories about how they were not given attention and so on and so forth. But let me just get this off the table to start with. You mentioned the envelope, the biopsy results, and all that. Now, can you hit this on the head straight for me? Should and could a person get what is received as a conclusive diagnosis without a biopsy report?
No.
Because there are many such scenarios where people are given to believe that they have breast cancer, right? But there's no biopsy done. Can you just hit that on the head?
Okay.
Whilst we continue the journey.
So conclusive, absolutely sure, certain, 100%. You need a biopsy result, which is going to confirm you have breast cancer and the type of breast cancer you have. But if you are an experienced nurse or doctor, somebody who's been around this, most often than not, especially in the advanced stage, I mean, when you see it, spot diagnosis, sometimes even the patient comes in, she even knows she has breast cancer. So, or you go do mammogram and scan and all that, and it's pretty obvious, but it's not conclusive. There's no evidence. And then when you see those signs, at best you may tell them it looks suspicious, it's suggestive, so I want you to do a biopsy, then we'll tell you exactly what you have. So definitely you need a biopsy. There are times I have even done a biopsy, the result came and said there was no cancer. But because of what I see and the experience I have, I know this must be cancer, so I will repeat the biopsy. So a few people, we may have repeated the biopsy 3 times, and then finally, conclusively, we can say you have breast cancer. Before we start bombarding them with such toxic cancer drugs.
You're asking for trouble with this word beginning with B. All right. You have to provide information, but you are perhaps emphasizing that it is an overload, right? And many receive it as such. Joycelyn, how are you?
I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay. Now, I love the word survivor, right? Many people have a struggle. It's almost as if they're a victim. Why me? All that, before they get to survivorship. All right. But how did you receive your diagnosis? Because a lot of women present alone. All right. These days we're learning through support groups and go with somebody, have somebody. And some of these things. How did you receive yours? Did you go alone? I know you're a nurse, though.
Yeah. So I picked the report up alone.
Okay.
And then I was asked not to open, but then I did. I didn't get to the doctor for her or him to tell me that.
Prohibition always attracts. Once you say don't, people will. You were asked not to open the envelope.
Yeah, because the moment I was so anxious for over 2 weeks.
Okay.
After
Even as a nurse?
Yes.
Okay.
I've nursed breast cancer patients.
Right.
I've seen the bad outcomes. And so seeing this lump, initially it was painless. So I didn't even know it was cancer.
99.7 FM.
And then I see the doctor, he examines and he tells me that go and do a scan.
Okay.
I did the scan and the scan just said it's suggestive of.
Okay.
And then I started praying that it won't be.
Okay.
Then I was asked to do a biopsy. And I had to wait for about 2 to 3 weeks for the report to come. And I pick it and you're asking me not to open.
The waiting period cries killer.
Yes, that one alone. For that 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep.
Right.
I was psychologically down. I was going mental.
Sorry, let me just, a bit more detail if you don't mind sharing.
Okay. Oh.
So, are you married?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, during this period, you were married?
Yes.
Okay.
I've had children.
Right. Okay. So, when you were, going through this process, you go do a scan, this, that, you've collected it. Did you at any time, did you discuss this with your husband? Did you feel, I know you're a nurse, but let me go along with him.
So the first day I felt the lump, the first person I spoke to was my husband.
Okay.
And he asked me to go and have it examined.
Okay.
But I was dodging the whole thing.
Okay.
So he put pressure. And then I went to examine it. I did the scan the same day I had it examined. And then it was suggestive of. So from the day of the scan till I got the biopsy report, I've been talking with him.
Okay.
In fact, I couldn't talk to my mom because I'm the only child.
Okay.
And I didn't want to break her with the news was just too much. So I couldn't talk to anyone apart from my husband.
Okay.
So he knew every step.
So he was in the picture?
He was in the picture.
But you didn't go physically with him when you picked it up? Okay.
No.
Right.
So when I picked it up and then I opened, I just went straight to the final diagnosis. And then I saw what it said.
Okay.
Malignancy.
Right.
Then I broke down.
Where were you?
Pathology without borders.
So you'd gone for your test results.
Yes.
You were told not to open it.
Yes.
You were anxious.
Too much.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're a nurse.
Yes.
Qualified. You've handled breast cancer. So of course you opened it.
Yep.
And you broke down.
And I broke down.
On your own.
Crying. By the roadside.
By the roadside.
Confused. And I couldn't call anyone.
You couldn't call anyone.
Because
At that time, were you aware of, you should have been aware of support and support groups and all that. Were you connected? Were you on board? Were you logged on to any group?
No, at that time, no.
No. A wholeness.
At that time, in nursing, if you are not directly under maybe surgical that deals with breast cancer, I was at the ICU by then. And it was basically patients that were on life support.
Yeah.
And you're always busy. So I never had anything to really do with breast care as in how I am involved today.
Okay. Now you're involved.
Yes.
All right. Folks, if you just joined us, 28 minutes past the hour of 2. We're talking breast cancer care and support, okay? we put aside symptoms, causes, risk factors, and all that. All right. Okay. We will get to do that. We always do that. We've done this for what, 20-something years. Don't worry about that. We're looking at the support journey, right? I've got a surgeon in the studio. I've got a clinical psychologist, and I've got a nurse who is a survivor. Okay. So living evidence. She's here. All right. We'll get to talk about those kinds of things. And you know me. If it's serious, they can come next week. But importantly, I'm using her to shed light on how difficult it is, even when you are aware of support, when you even have, should I say, health knowledge. You're health literate. You know and hear these things, and it happens to you and it hits you. So I'm using Joycelyn, with or without her permission, to illustrate that, Charlie, the anxiety we are talking about doesn't matter if even you are the surgeon or the clinical psychologist. This is real. And it is so impactful on people's lives, and it has an impact on maybe even the progress of the condition and your coping and your management. I have in my hands a manual published by the Breast Society of Ghana, Breast Cancer Diagnosis, Treatment, Facts and Myths. I'm assured that this is broken down and easy to understand. Dr. Nsafo.
Yes, it is.
All right.
And it's because, we realize that our patients need support by way of even information on what they have and what to expect in treatment, how to go through it. And even there's a chapter on survivorship and contacts of support groups to hook them up. There's a chapter too that Rita wrote even on, the psychological aspect. So everything from risk diagnosis all the way to the end, survivorship and support. All
right. Rita, my dear.
Hello.
How now? Bibi Aboko.
Bibi Aboko.
Right. So you're part of the society. You put this together.
Yes.
I want you to say emphatically, should I wait for a diagnosis? Should I be a patient before I grab this book?
Not at all.
Is this for patients or, the affected only?
It's for everyone.
It's for everyone.
Yes.
So would it be right to say, look, women, go grab this. Men, grab this.
Everyone should grab
Everybody should grab a copy.
Exactly.
Right. Because she mentioned patient. But I'm thinking, hey, we're looking to pick this up early if we can. Yours, I'm told yours was quite a good story. Oh?
Yes.
Joyce, yours was picked up early. Or
sure.
Earlier than most.
Earlier than most.
Okay.
Stage 1.
Stage 1.
Yes.
Wow.
So I got to save my breasts.
Okay.
Unlike others who lose one or both breasts.
Right.
I did surgery, but I did a breast conserving surgery.
Okay. Right. You're hearing that on Joy 99.7 FM. You've heard it before. But, there's so much misinformation out there, right? So there's literature online. This is hard copy. It's in my hands. How do women, men, how do you get a copy? Is it available?
It is available. You can contact the phone number on that, the Breast Society of Ghana.
Okay.
Or our website.
Right.
And you can ask for a copy. We have it also at, we have a team at Whole Regional Hospital, Cape Coast, Konfanoche, Tamale Teaching Hospital, and then of course here in Accra.
For sale? Free?
Honestly, for now, we are not selling it.
Right.
We got a little sponsorship, so the first few 100 copies, we are giving it to patients, their relatives, to help them understand. And then anyone like yourself who is interested, I guess when the first few run out, then we might sell it.
I find it interesting when you say myself who's interested. Been in there for years. But hey, great stuff. So we can grab a couple. Ziggy, don't let them go without leaving copies. Right? Otherwise, we'll do our own thing on them. They don't know. All right. But essentially, no, don't mind me. This is available. It's good resource, for yourself, right? It empowers you. It informs and transforms you. All the hundious filler you hear from people who claim to know, please, I beg you. Years ago, I had a lady who was told she had breast cancer. In fact, she was told it could be breast cancer. Then later was told it wasn't. And then the doctor she was seeing then, she told me, she insisted it was a doctor, said she should start seeing him outside facility. Right? And she was going somewhere down the road, in someone road. There was something on this road, whether it was alternative therapy, allopathy, this, but somewhere along the line, it turned into a very aggressive cancer. And it progressed so fast. In fact, she begged me to tell her story on air. Her fiance proceeded to marry her. They got married, but she didn't make it. We lost her. So when there's information from the right people, please, grab it. And we'll grab some for you and see what process or mechanism by which we can get a few people who can pass by front desk to grab. Okay? But this is serious business. Okay, coming back to the journey of care and support. So it starts very early. You need help to even reconcile, integrate, accept, acknowledge this diagnosis. Right. Rita, what do you do? Do you lay hands? Do you know, I'm also a psychologist, but I have to play the layman's advocate here. Right? I've heard this thing I never thought I would hear. What are you going to tell me that's going to change the game?
Okay, so usually you have them come into my consulting relatively confused.
Okay.
Because I think receiving diagnosis of any condition is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And not to talk about breast cancer, people think means you have a death warrant. So they are really distraught. So you'd have to initially take them through the grieving process.
Okay.
Because mostly there's denial, there's aggression, there's self-blame, bargaining here and there, because why me? So you have somebody even asking, my mother is 88, I'm 36. Why do I have breast cancer and my 88-year-old mother is free and all of that?
Right.
So you'd have to take them through the grieving process gradually to now get them to a stage of acceptance. And then you can continue from there with support. Now, support generally is in dealing with their psychosocial or psycho-emotional challenges, be it anxiety, depression, fear of the unknown, extreme sadness, and all. Others too are relationship-wise, because it's difficult to tell the partner that I have this diagnosis. And then others too are coming alone and they've already been informed that if you come and it's cancer, that's the end of our marriage or our planned supposed marriage, for instance. So it's difficult. There's equally the difficulty in breaking the news to even younger ones, because you can't tell disclosure, how the kids are going to handle the information. How would they even understand it in the first place? What if they go talk about it elsewhere?
Okay.
And as much as our culture is collective, when it comes to cancer, it's mostly a lonely journey, because there's fear of stigma.
There's a great degree of isolation.
Exactly. So immediately somebody finds out, you are going to be the topic of the town. Some religious bodies are equally worse off, because the next time you are the preaching topic in church and everybody is telling you that because of there's somebody who has cancer and we are casting demons here and there. So it's mostly a very lonely journey. So you want to provide them with that kind of support and an embrace or a new family for them to feel belonged, so that in as much as the journey is difficult, they can still go through the journey and still have smiles on their faces.
Okay, great. 37 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. We're talking breast cancer care and support with the professionals. You just heard Rita Apia Dankwa. She's a clinical psychologist, a member of the Breast Society of Ghana. Next to her, Dr. Josephine Insafo, a surgeon with the breast surgery unit in the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the president of the Breast Society of Ghana. And Joycelyn Yaokuma. Right. She's a nurse and a survivor, right? It's a very, very, very bumpy road, even for those who are providing the care and support we are describing now. They are in the studio. It's not easy. There are many emotional and other reactions to this. There's a lot of non-compliance defaults. Sometimes we lose people. They don't appear. Sometimes we are the last people they want to hear from. Right. But a critical part of this whole process is listening. Very often we hear that we're too busy helping people with what to do and so on and so forth. How critical and important is listening in this process? Allowing the person to tell their story, Rita?
It's very, very important because most of the time they are in distress for varied reasons. Some is because they are scared of losing their breast, since breast is a symbol of femininity. For others, it's financial reasons. They can't afford the treatment. For others, they've heard various things. If I have a mastectomy or my breast is removed, my breast is attached to my heart, I'm going to die the next minute. So it means they wouldn't want to undergo the surgery.
Okay.
For others too, it's just the mere fact that it's cancer and there are various myths. Immediately you have cancer, you're dying tomorrow or the next. So there's that fear of the unknown. So you can't just jump into therapy or trying to cancel them. You have to listen to them to understand what is their source of psychosocial emotional distress, then address it from there. So listening is very key and important.
Okay. Dr. Nsafo, I mean, there's so many processes involved. You're a surgeon, okay? But, I mean, as a result or as a product of many of these psychosocial turmoils, the challenges, the friction in different areas, I can refuse treatment. I can fail to comply. You want to cut, I say no. How do you cross these challenges? This is what clinically I see. I need to intervene surgically, right? I've explained everything to you. Rita has done her part, but Chale wouldn't, couldn't. What do you do? And then, of course, issues of consent coming out. I'll bounce that off Joycelyn as well. But how do you deal with that as a surgeon? Your work is tough enough as it is, right? But now this is a brick wall. You understand the brick wall, but it's still in front of you.
Yes. So we do have a few of those every now and then. You give them the pros and cons. At a point, you just want to tell them, if you don't remove the breast, your prognosis or your chances of survival is very poor. If we want to cure it, we have to operate. We even try and give them options.
Right.
So if it's early enough, immediately I'll calm you down and say, we don't have to remove the breast.
Okay.
We can remove the lump. Some people is sort of borderline. So if they are insisting they don't want a mastectomy, they don't want us to remove the breast, which is what I recommend.
Okay.
For a few people, we can shrink it a little bit with chemotherapy and then remove the lump. Though that may not be the best.
Okay.
But if they are really, adamant, but I'll explain to you it's not the best.
Okay.
And then there are a number of people we need to remove the breast to save their life. And then we offer them breast reconstruction.
Okay.
And Nortey, I've seen a few people, all of a sudden they want to listen to you.
Right.
Because they didn't want them to remove their breast.
Hang on a second. So you, the clinician, your psychological adjustment too is critical.
It is.
Because if you to say, and yeah, bye-bye. You've had a hard day and you're seeing these in series. This is just one person.
Yes.
So how do you handle that? I want my listeners to understand. You're looking through a range of very difficult choices. You're trying to save life. On a different degree or spectrum, you're trying also to conserve form, function, sense of self-worth, value, and esteem, all those things, right? And the person is stuck. I mean, aren't you allowed to kind of lose it once in a while for a patient or two?
The British try say, not to.
Get lost. How do you handle and balance all that, knowing you have the cadre of support, Rita, nurses, and all those things? How do you handle that and arrive at a decision that your patient agrees with?
Yes, we try not to lose it.
Okay.
I can't say we are perfect,
you
but
can
we try
confess
not
here,
to. It's okay. Well, there you have it.
Right.
Every now and then, but we try not to lose it.
Okay.
We try and give them the facts, their options, and then we try and compromise every now and then. On their treatment options.
Okay.
I mean, definitely, Rita will tell you, sometimes I just shout, bring Rita. Should talk to them or should take them to a survivor like Joycelyn or anyone. And actually, a number of people do change their mind after they've been through counseling or met a survivor.
Okay.
Some of them just bare their chest there and say, look at my scars. I've been around here 5-10 years. And people do change their minds. So we try everything to try and change their minds. Maybe I'll even let you see another colleague surgeon and see what that person says.
Okay.
Some people want a second opinion. They've been
Right.
to another hospital. They've been told they need to remove the breast.
Right.
So they say, no, I want to come to Kolebu. And then when they hear a second opinion, or I'll pass you to a colleague next door, when they hear this, so we try and convince them.
Okay.
And we can, offer them things like breast reconstruction.
Right.
And a lot of people change their mind because they can have an immediate breast reconstruction. We
Okay.
remove your breast, you wake up and you have a new one. So a lot of people change their mind. But Nortey, still,
It's
one
tough.
or two people.
Yeah.
One or two people refuse. Well, I tell you that don't just go hide at home. You come. We will still be here
Many
to
are
support
hiding
you.
at home.
Yes,
Many are hiding at home
they
for
are.
various reasons, financial, religious and pseudo-religious, you name it. In fact, some people I've had over the years on the program, family is incensed, outraged that they had the audacity to come on radio and say they had breast cancer. So the challenges, the turbulence is from many quarters. Let me announce the phone line. 030-221-6541. 030-221-6541. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. This is Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Nortey by nature. We are, yes, it's Mother's Day, but there are mothers who are battling with breast cancer. All right? So, hey, we're doing this today. 030-221-6541. WhatsApp is 055-11-11-997. I've got Joycelyn in the studio. She's a nurse. She's a survivor.
Joy 99.7
Dr. Josephine Insafo is a surgeon with the breast surgery unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. She's the president of the Breast Society. Indeed, they are all members. And Rita Apia Dankwa is a clinical psychologist with the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and also a member. We're looking at the breast care and support journey. Are you a member of a support group? Who's been helpful? Who have you been talking to? Are you hiding? Why are you hiding? What have you been told? What is your source of information? I've mentioned earlier they have a book, Breast Cancer Diagnosis, Treatment, Facts and Myths, and outright lies as well. Yes, sometimes you have to say it bluntly. Yeah, people are lying, and there's a whole angle where people are commercializing all sorts of things as well. Joycelyn, this whole, yes, you can have reconstructive surgery. I'd rather you leave my breast alone, but I've gotten further along the journey. Now I agree you can touch, you can do something. How did you battle with that?
Okay, so after the diagnosis, I saw my doctor.
Okay.
And she took me through the surgery, the options.
If you don't
available.
mind and you want to name members of the team or your own doctor, Charlie, let's give them, hey, it's not all bad news, okay? Yeah, you saw your doctor, okay.
Yeah, so my doctor is Dr. Dede.
Oh,
Dr.
Florence.
Florence.
Oh, my heart throb. She bounced me 5 times. I'm lying. Florence, hi. Another soldier. Yeah, go ahead.
So she told me the options, whether we go for the breast conserving
Okay.
or mastectomy.
Right.
But then looking at the size of the lump then,
Okay.
my lump was less than 2 centimeters.
Okay.
So she said, well, a breast conserving surgery will do.
Okay.
Then
But definitely you needed surgery.
I needed surgery.
Okay.
So at the point I said, I don't want a recurrence. So can we take the breast off rather? And she was
Oh,
like,
now you wanted it off.
I didn't want to battle the whole,
Hey.
go through the journey again.
Okay.
So
Kumi Preku.
I discussed with my husband
Okay.
about it. And then I spoke with her. And she was like, it wouldn't be necessary. But then when we
Okay.
go into theater and then she sees that maybe there may be recurrence or they can't get the whole lump out, then the mastectomy will be done.
99.7 FM.
But then when I came out, I realized the breast conserving surgery was done,
All right.
which is the lumpectomy.
Okay.
And then I recovered and then continued with the treatment.
All right. So everything is normal.
Yes,
Yo-
I have a scar.
You have a scar, but your World Cups are okay. Yeah?
Yes.
You retained the World Cups.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Now you're smiling about this.
Yes.
All right. I want to ask, okay, so at what point did you relax? You were anxious, you peeped more than peeped into an envelope. You saw this. You've gone along. Are you now relaxed? I mean, it's like, okay, I'm a survivor. At what point do you? I mean,
Okay, so cancer treatment is like a lifelong treatment.
right.
So, 5 years post treatment, I'm happy I'm still here. But then once in a while, I still do my labs. I go for review and all that. But once in a while, maybe a story about someone's recurrence will scare you, and you want to ask where you stand
Okay.
or what next. So that fear of recurrence is there, but life is okay. It's good. I'm fine, as you can see.
Right. I can see you're fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been through surgery. Have you done any chemo?
Yes, I've done chemo 6 cycles with a combination drug.
Okay.
I've done radiation therapy.
Okay.
I've done hormone therapy,
Okay.
and currently I'm still on medication.
And still working.
Yeah.
Still working.
Yes,
All
but
right.
that's not so active chemo. That's something to prevent the
Oh,
cancer.
that's
from
fine.
coming.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. 49 minutes past the hour of 2. You know, I'm asking all these questions to lay the foundation because I've trapped them next weekend. But the important thing is, all right, there are options, and there are options that work. All right? And they work better, and the prognosis or the outlook is better if we see this thing early. Right? So all the pink October and stuff, and I've seen they typing. Are we aware of the oh, I've forgotten the name.
Pink for Africa.
Yeah, pink and all that, right? The Lutrots. My mom's a Lutrot, okay? Dede. But anyway, yeah, there are lots of organizations, lots of things being done, all right? Yeah, but yeah, she's gone through the range. She's still on management, some of it preventive, right?
Yep.
But she's a survivor. She's not one of the 50% mortality that we're talking about, thankfully. Right? Thankfully. So we need to understand this journey, because maybe without support, somebody just gets off the bus. They would have made it, but hey, they listened to the wrong thing. They got depressed. It wasn't identified and managed, because somebody's on treatment, but they are depressed. I've handled somebody who was actually plotting to end their life. And they were on, I think, radiotherapy and chemo, right? But they, in a session, they said, look, I'm tired. I'm tired. Okay? But because she had access to me and others, this was identified. And we now had to manage that, right? Otherwise, you're battling with depression. You're battling with the cancer itself, right? And many other things. And nobody knows. I've handled people with sickle cell who've told me that crisis, Nortey, when I went into Kolebu, I told myself, looking at what my mother is going through, I didn't want this to be the one that I go back home, I recover. I wanted God to end it with that crisis. And it happens in breast cancer as well. Rita, you're nodding.
Exactly, it happens there as well.
So, you know, even with somebody in treatment, care, therapy, we need to be monitoring what's going on in their care and support journey.
Exactly, because people get overwhelmed with time, and within the journey they get exhausted. So you have to monitor and check their welfare once in a while. Even when they are done with active treatment,
Okay.
the fear of recurrence is sometimes debilitating, or even reintegrating back into normal life
Okay.
becomes very, very difficult for them. So psychosocial support is all through the entire journey. It's not a one-stop thing.
Okay. Right. Phone line still active, 030-221-6541. Are you stunned into silence? If it was some kokonsa by now, you'd have called. But this is serious stuff, right? So we're giving it attention. Dr. Nsafo, so we've got to get a lot more women aware of the details, the information, the clinical, aspects of it, symptoms, self-examination, all this whole load. How do you get them on board a support group, network, and so on? Many are very reticent. Okay, I'm not like them. Mindru Honum. This, if you join these people, most of them it's just a group of people who they watch each other die, and they have funerals and all kinds of stuff. How do you get somebody to join? Should it be for you or for Rita? Or all of you? Rita.
Okay, so usually when they come for consultation, we have several groups. Sometimes we have their reps coming to the clinics as well. So we introduce them to the various support group. The hospital has one.
Okay.
Pink for Africa is there, Mod Local Foundation, Cancer Support Network, Run for a Cure, several of them. So Breast Society of Ghana as well equally has a support group.
Right.
So all we need to do is send their information, but you seek their consent first. Do you want to? And then you send their information across, and they join.
Right.
Sometimes they get the direct link from the survivor they speak to. So when they are convincing us, they join the group the survivor they spoke to is in, and that is what helps them with the journey. But those groups are somewhat equally monitored, because sometimes patients are there, and then any other person who loses a life, then the fear is that it is through breast cancer. But we are all aware that death could happen for several reasons. But since it's a breast support group, every death is breast cancer. So sometimes you have to enter through, educate them, even with the groups, to let them know that it may not necessarily be through breast cancer, but we need to rally behind and support all.
Right. My support group. Oh yeah, Inafenya, I see you. Long time no see. This somebody says, please check your sound. Was that for now? No? Okay. Dede in Maryland says, have you all heard of Pink for Africa? There's a breast cancer foundation by Juliet Erowak Mills Lutrot. Yes, there are many of them. Cancer support group, or what's the lady's name now? She's been on here as well. There are many of them, Dede. Yeah. Good afternoon, happy Mother's Day to all. Wait, where am I? To all your doctors and nurses with you there, and the nation as well. Now, my question is, what is the probability of surviving after going through breast cancer? Hayford in Bato is asking that. I don't know whether they can give a probability, but definitely if yours is identified early, there's a strong chance that you survive. In fact, I know, and I'll probably let Doc share that across the world, depending on where you are, the probability is better in well-developed should I say, countries where care and support is quite advanced. And if you're not in the right areas, it lowers, but survival exists, Doc.
I think what makes the difference across the world is the stage of the disease.
The stage, yeah.
So you're going to find about 60% of the world's deaths are in low to middle income countries.
Resource constrained countries.
So just here in Ghana, right here at Kolebu, we look at our data. So those who had early breast cancer, so we're talking stage 1 breast cancer, like Joycelyn, for instance, we realized that their chances of survival was over 90%.
Okay.
And then we went to look at the figures from America, and guess what? It was exactly the same.
All right.
Also over 90%.
Okay.
So we realized that those in Ghana who present with early breast cancer, they have equal chances of surviving as somebody in America.
Okay.
The problem is there are fewer.
Right.
And then the advanced ones...
I see that we have over 70% of our cases presenting at advanced stage.
Yeah, stage 3 and stage 4.
So that's already messes up the data.
Exactly.
Okay.
So maybe our 5-year survival overall is, I think, at 48%, right?
Okay.
And then in the US, it may be 80 something. But when you break it down stage for stage, you realize that we are not doing badly at all. Right. And when you're talking about treatment options, we have everything here.
Right.
From the types of surgery to chemotherapy.
Joycelyn has taken all of them.
Yes.
Right.
So there's everything here. There's nothing she didn't get.
Okay.
That because she's in Ghana. So really, it's about when you decide to come to hospital or when it is detected, and then starting treatment early and appropriate treatment, not those pathies,
Yeah. Okay. Now, removal, which women don't want to hear. All right. And somebody opting. Angelina Jolie said, "Hey, my family has this. I have the what's it? BRAC, whatever. And so take it off. I don't have breast cancer. Take it off. I don't want to get there." Okay. Do women have those options here? Do we do those kinds of interventions?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And even quite recently, we have a lab that runs this genetic test you just mentioned right here in Ghana, right here in Accra. Back in the day, you had to pay $2,000-3,000 and your specimen is sent out. Now it's here.
Okay.
And so even that genetic test is available.
Right.
Even before the genetic test was available, some people was pretty obvious that they had the genetic type of cancer. Everybody in the family has it, so it's a matter of time.
Okay.
Yes, we do what we call a risk-reducing mastectomy,
Okay.
and obviously most of the time it will go with breast reconstruction. You know, so I do the first half of the surgery, and then the plastic surgeons do the second half of the surgery.
Okay.
So we can remove both breasts. But, you know, I'll let you have a chat with Rita before you take such a bold decision. You should be sure.
Okay.
I don't want to remove your breast and then you come and tell me that you want your breast back.
Give me back. Right.
Yeah, so it's available, and we actually encourage some women who are at a very high risk of a genetic breast cancer.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Joycelyn, so what would you say to women listening to us? You had the breast conservation and all that. You didn't lose your breast. Some lose one or both. They have to wear the artificial, the prosthesis and all that. And what would you say to women listening to you, looking at you? And, you know, when we do cancer and all that, they're checking. Does she have hair? And, you know, yeah. Looking at you, what would you say to them?
So early detection is key. I would say I am sitting here right now talking to them because of early detection.
Okay.
One, if I had ignored the lump I felt because it wasn't painful, it was tiny. If I had ignored it and didn't go to check, I would have been singing a different song today. And then taking the decision to go through treatment. There's not the time to say you have to go and talk to your pastor and seek God's approval for treatment. I don't think God or Christ is against going for medical treatment. So all I would say is that know yourself, know your breast, so that if there is any change whatsoever, be it a physical change you can see obviously on your breast, that okay, so you were not having inverted nipples, but all of a sudden your nipple is being pulled in, or you have dimples on the skin around your breast, or discharge, which it shouldn't even get to that point. Any noticeable change, you should come to the hospital. Then we should also be breast aware by knowing, feeling it, seeing it the way we take our time to put on makeup to go to work, we should have that same attention for our breast.
To be able to
one feel it.
One shout, but one feel it.
One feel it. No one share. So
okay.
you visualize, you feel it, you touch it, and then people always say, how will I know this is a lump? And we'll always say that the moment your fingers know know how it feels like normally, if there's a change, the fingers will tell you that, oh, last month or 2 weeks ago when you touch the boobs, there was nothing hard in there, but today there's something there. Then you do the yearly mammograms if you are 40 and above, and if there's any suspicion, just come to the hospital. Don't listen to anyone that will say, and there's a herbalist. You know, when you are diagnosed with breast cancer, be it a judge, a lawyer, a doctor, everybody will direct you to a herbalist in a corner somewhere, or a prayer camp where you'll be cured or you'll be healed. Please don't listen to those are just myths. It doesn't work because they always come back to the hospital for treatment.
A message for you from Charlotte Esi. She was your colleague on the ward, and she's said, good afternoon to you and your panel. It's a special edition for me having my colleague Joyce on board today. We thank the Almighty for her life. Keep inspiring. Charlotte, she used to be with us in Kolebu. And Charlotte is the one whose son did a portrait of me. Yeah, I have a portrait done by her son. Right, thanks for sharing that. You've seen who it is now.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, right. So she's saying, thank God for your life and all the lives that we are able to reach out, touch, and save. I would plead that maybe next week I can get a representation of this team or the same people, because, you know, issues of disclosure, challenges with faith and faith-based organizations, there's a lot of interference. You and I know, right? Consent. Some of the marital issues. I've handled breast cancer where men have been exceptional angels, right? And I've handled ones that it has been so horrifying. Abandonment and many, many other things, even legal suits whilst the woman has cancer. Yes, and divorce. Okay, so I would love it if we could have you back next week so that we can expand on some of these things. Disclosure, there's disclosure that you can handle yourself, there's assisted disclosure, there's also end of life care. All right, we do get into that, okay, where it's staring us in the face, but we're reluctant to prepare for the ultimate end. Okay, children are involved, partners are involved, churches are involved. So I would love to have a look at the full spectrum of care and support with you ladies in charge, okay? And if you have a few gentlemen, then I won't feel so lonely, but I'm loving it for now, right? But that would be great, Dr. Nsafo.
Sure.
The society, all right? And then we'll get into structure of society and group support. Are we meeting? Are we paying dues? You know, some of these groups can be so intrusive. Yeah, koha. Yeah, yes, say. Yeah, yes, say. Triaway. Yes, say. Yes, say. Let's get the mechanics, the basics of a group. What is involved? Okay. Somebody said to me once, do you see? How do we get these groups to move, and how do we get them to be, should I say, a meaningful support and resource for the persons we are helping? Okay. And even how do we ourselves, the professionals, cope when we lose some of these lovely people we are assisting? Very often it's not talked about. Okay. Sometimes you are the carer or the support system, and then you lose somebody and it knocks you for 6, right? But there are many more who are expecting you to be up and doing and giving support. Any parting shots? I've captured this copy. Anything you want to leave us with? We've already gone past 3, but just a word or two, because we want to set the stage. Next week I want to go into detail with some of these processes.
Yes. If I may, I'd like to invite your listeners to join us for an online public lecture. Nothing too complicated. It's just about breast health. You know, we're going to have someone talk to us about even how to, you know, fit into the right brazier.
Okay.
You know, and then we'll address some of these funny myths we hear. Somebody will say, oh, is the brazier with the wire that gave you breast cancer and so forth. And then finally, we are actually going to demonstrate how to do a breast self-examination.
Okay.
So just breast health issues. It's an online lecture. It's going to be Wednesday evening, 5 p.m. when we get off work. Just 1 hour. You can tune in. If you go to our Facebook, Instagram pages, the flyer is there. We have a Zoom link.
So
Anybody at all
Breast
can join.
Society's Facebook.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Right?
Yep.
So just Google Breast Society Ghana, right? It goes straight to their pages and all information about them. Right? They're having, so that's Zoom,
Yes.
right? Wednesday.
Wednesday 21st. So not this week, next week. Wednesday.
Right. Wednesday 21st
Yes.
of May.
Exactly.
All right. You're online and...
At 5 p.m.
Okay. Right. And any speakers?
Yes. So we will have 3 speakers. We will have Miss Lydia. She is a lingerie specialist. So she's going to teach us how to fit the right brazier. A lot of us are wearing wrongly fitting braziers. And then we'll have an oncologist, Dr. Sandra Corsa. She's going to talk to us about some of these funny ideas, myths we have to do with breast. And then finally, we'll have a breast care nurse who is going to demonstrate how to do the breast examination correctly.
Okay. Right. Years ago, I did some this breast business, and listeners were like, "Why do you know so much about these things and that?" Well, with the groups, you get to know, right? People wearing the wrong size brassiere, doing all sorts of things, and it came up in one of these breast cancer things, and the underwire, and it causes this, and this one did this. It's going to be interesting. Can the men join?
Oh, most certainly.
All right. Okay, male members of the Breast Society of Ghana. Charlie, Ziggy and I will be recruiting some from here. Yeah, Ziggy. Okay, but we are not going to be feeling things. So, we're doing serious stuff. Many thanks once again, Dr. Josephine Nsafo.
It's been a pleasure.
Joycelyn
Hello.
Hello, darling. And Rita, thank you so much. We've gone 8 minutes over time, but next week we'll go into some of the processes and procedures, all right? And I'll share with you also some of the not so nice feedback we get sometimes, okay? And then we can realign some of the things, okay? And then we can also talk about, hey, so outside Accra, further and beyond, is this kind of support available? Very often we are asked these things, okay? Whether we extend to, the peripheries and so on and so forth. Many thanks again to my producer, Ziggy Badio, the man himself. How can you call yourself Badio? I say it's bad times 10. BAD 10. Badio. He's my producer. He makes it happen this and every Sunday. Of course, you, my discerning listeners, me, myself, I'm just simply Nortey by nature. Let me go back to Daughters of Glorious Jesus for my number. They can stay. Happy Mother's Day. Don't go away.